In the conversation, best team in college basketball, you hear Arizona's name thrown around, you hear Michigan's name thrown around, Duke's name. You don't often hear Illinois' name thrown around. And folks, people don't just show up in Mackey Arena and win. Purdue is 70-7 at home these last 5 years. Illinois just went into Mackey Arena and won with nearly their entire team ice cold and missing their second best player. So when you see a result like that, you can't just gloss over it. Illinois belongs in that conversation when you're talking about best teams in college basketball. On offense, Illinois is averaging 1.24 points per possession this year. You may not think that's a big deal, but that's actually the highest output in modern college basketball history. Since play-by-play data came out in 1997, no one has eclipsed that total that Illinois is putting up this year. And what's different about this team compared to last year is last year Illinois was still very good offensively, but they were pretty one-dimensional. They could torch you inside, but they were chucking threes last year. 30 threes per game they took, fourth in Division I. Yet they were shooting just 31%, 318th. That hurt them. Think about watching the Houston Rockets 2017-2018 Game 7 against the Warriors. That's what Illinois was seeing last year on a constant basis. A really good team that was just chucking up threes and clanking them. So Underwood goes and gets Keaton Wagler, 40% plus from three. David Merkovic, 37%. One of the Avicic brothers, 37%. Now all of a sudden, they're shooting 36% from three as a team. That's very good. And one thing about Illinois, okay, Illinois runs a lot of pick and pop. They love it with the Avicic brothers, with David Merkovic. They do that routinely. They run it the top 0.3% of college basketball. So what they do when they do that, when you run a pick and pop with your big man, and you've got dudes who are draining threes, 37% clip, you're taking rim protectors out of the paint, and that paint is wide open, okay? So as a result, Illinois is shooting 59% from two and 67% at the rim. That's the second most efficient clip in Division I basketball because they've got big men who can drain threes. So last year, you could stop Illinois by, to be honest with you, clogging the paint. When you see a pick and pop that Illinois runs, you're not really going to go out of that paint and threaten it. You're going to stay in the paint. You can't do that this year. So as a result, Illinois is one of the best two-point scoring teams we've ever seen. And last year, they got eliminated early in the tournament against Kentucky because they went 9 for 32 from three. They're not that type of team this year. I'm not sure if there is a technical way you can stop Illinois on offense this year because they have the guards and they are huge in the front court. Against Purdue, nothing was working for Illinois. Outside of Keaton Wagler, Illinois had just 42 points. They shot 14 of 39 from the field. Just 10 of 27 of their baskets were assisted. They had just as many turnovers as they did assist. No set buckets. You lose a game like that 95% of the time, okay? But it's games like that you should pay attention to the most when you're talking about which teams can really win it in March. This is why every single national champion in college basketball history has had an NBA first-round draft pick the following season. Because in March, when you go deep in the tournament, you're bound to play some of those elite defensive teams that make things really, really, really hard for you. So what you've been doing all year as a collective all of a sudden doesn't work. The team's too athletic. They're disrupting screens. They're disrupting movement. Guys can't get open. Illinois against Purdue had one of those days because Illinois plays super slow, 264th in Division I in tempo, right? Purdue's huge. They're one of the few teams that can match Illinois in terms of their size. You get 7'3" Daniel Jacobson. Oscar Clough is 6'11". Trey Kaufman-Renz, pretty big himself. All of a sudden, Illinois, their size is being matched. So this is where having a lottery pick on your team is so important. Keaton Wagler, stats straight out of a video game, has 46 points, 13 of 17 from the field, 9 of 11 from 3. Over half of their points. They couldn't stop him. It didn't matter what Purdue did. Keaton Wagler was just on another planet. Yeah, sure, Purdue perimeter defense may not be their thing, but Keaton Wagler is just that type of talent. And that right there is why teams with NBA talent win national championships. Is because you have games where everything isn't working. And the coach literally has to say, F it. Just give the ball to Keaton Wagler. There's really nothing we can do. And it actually works out for them. And the crazy part is Purdue actually played super well. Purdue shot 37% from 3. Purdue had 19 assists and 3 turnovers as a team. When do you see a Purdue team play like that and lose? Never. Ever do you see that. And sure, I think that does show a weakness in Illinois. I think Illinois needs to find a ball hawk. I mean, they are last in Division I in steals, okay, per game. Houston has their Kingston Flemings. Nebraska, they have their Sam Hoiberg. Michigan, you've got Alexa Lindeberg. Illinois doesn't necessarily have that, but this isn't a bad defense by any means, man. Top 15 in Division I in blocks. You're the tallest team in the country. You only commit 12 fouls per game. That's the 4th lowest in Division I. So they are the only team in the sport who's in the top 15 in blocks per game and least fouls per game. So they got dudes who can contest. They got dudes who can contest without fouling. That's huge. So this offense is generational, which means this defense doesn't have to be elite that Illinois has. This defense has to be just good enough. Very good, we'll say. And then Illinois is right in that national conversation. And guys, last year, this Illinois team wouldn't have won a game like this. In Mackey Arena, your team is struggling. Your opponent is in the flow state offensively, draining threes, not turning the ball over, executing to as close to perfection as you can get. But Illinois has a lottery pick in Keaton Wagler, and that is the difference between a good college team and a team that is in the national conversation as to, yes, they can win a national championship. And yeah, sure, there are things that Illinois needs to get solved on the defensive end. They probably need to force more turnovers, even though in the front court, defensively, is A tier. But think of this, folks. I'll leave you here with this. The one time Illinois has made it past the first weekend under Brad Underwood is when they had a star, Terrence Shannon Jr., and he just took over. Illinois has that type of star this year in Keaton Wagler, and you may not have seen it Saturday in Mackey Arena, but they have a bunch of good complementary pieces, and when they get more healthy, they didn't have Kylan Boswell. Kylan Boswell is a 60% two-point shooter. Like, when this team gets healthy, they're that type of talent that can make it super far in March. This team is different from a lot of other Illinois teams that we've seen.